Welcome back. You should have your key tag all designed by now. You should be logged into your own account. And over on the data panel, you should be able to see your project. Simply double click on it to open it up. Once you see your project on the screen, we want to verify that everything looks right. This is the one you want. If you're missing pieces, make sure that you look under bodies, that you have the light bulb on for bodies, because if the light bulb is off, you will be missing stuff. And usually you can just turn the light back on and you're back in business. Now, we're going under the assumption that we have everything all finished and all we need to do is get ready to do our 3D print. Some of the things you want to do to make sure that you're going to be successful is you want to make sure your object is big enough. If you go back to inspect, you can use your measurement there. You can also just turn on your origins here. And my grid's not turned on. If I turned on my grid settings, I can see the grid again. Or I can just use my ruler. On the ruler, I can click from one side to the other, and it'll show me over here that my distance is 2.5, so I know that my object is the right size. If it's not, but 1 inch, it's going to be pretty stupid when it prints out. Once you verify that you have everything you want, you're ready to go, you're going to go to the Make menu, choose 3D Print. Under Make and 3D Print, we need to do our selection. It wants to know what to print. And we need to make sure that we select everything so that we get a complete print. Once we've got everything selected, we want to send to 3D Print Utility, and the print utility is called Cura. The Cura program actually takes this file that we created and it creates it into a series of slices that are going to print out one layer at a time with the 3D printer. The 3D printer goes round and round, laying down more material as it goes. Now, it tells me here, there's my key tag, tells me here that my object is going to take 27 minutes to print, 0.82 meters, so about 2 feet to print. You need to specify the right material. Most of the colored plastics y'all are printing on are PLA, but we do also have bronze fill. We have some steel PLA from Protopasta, and we also have some wood fill that you can print with. If you had something that needed to be really clear, there's a product called T-Glaze, and I use a lot of that for my work. It's a very clear and very durable material. Okay. So we're going to specify what we want when we get ready to print, but here that'll let us make some choices. I'm going to go over to View Mode. Under View Mode, we're currently in Normal. If I choose Layers, it will show me what my object is going to look like. Now, it has 15 layers, so it's going to go round and round 15 times to print this out. These blue lines here are the actual path that the printer is going to take. It prints a little outline around the outside first to clean out the nozzle and to make sure that it's got a good extrusion going before it goes. It's going to jump from the letter S over here into the letter O, and you can see the path it's taking from letter to letter. Sometimes it'll leave a little string behind and you just have to deal with that. Sometimes you can trim them off. But this is exactly what we want. The letters look solid, everything looks good. If instead of solid green here, you were seeing a green and white check background, that means you're missing something in here. It's see-through, and that's not going to be satisfactory. If you choose standard print, it's going to be a pretty good print. If you choose high detail, it's going to take a lot longer to print, and it usually uses a lot more material. Now, when I went to high detail, it also went see-through on me, but I think that's just a flum in the program. Notice this is going to take 25 layers. I'm not actually hooked up to the printer, so it sometimes acts peculiar. If I go back to standard, it fixes itself there, so the drawing is okay. If I go to high speed, sometimes I just want to do a quick and dirty print to see if something's going to fit right. And for that, I usually just use high speed, use the minimum amount of material, and just get it printed. Notice that's 10 layers. high detail was 25 layers. Okay, so layers are thinner, they're more carefully laid down, a little bit slower as you go. We're going to go to File, and we're going to save the model because we need to save this 3D file to print. These are mesh files, and the mesh files either have an AMF or an STL extension, and it doesn't matter to Cura which one you use. Now, for our purposes, we usually save ours to the one that says 3D files to be printed. I don't have that on my machine today, so I'm going to simply say final key tag. Actually, I'm going to say final key Bly because I need to make sure that people know this is mine. Ms. Thompson will know whose it is when you get ready to print. Now, we're going to close up Cura on this computer, and normally you would go over, or somebody's going to go over and open up that file on the computer that's attached to the 3D printer, and once it starts printing, it will take 20, 30 minutes depending on how long it has to heat up and such. So sometimes you'll just have to leave it to print. That's all there is to it. Come back tomorrow and you can make your next project.